Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello, BookTube. It's Louise, the Big Head Bookworm. Lovely to see you. Hope you're all well. Hope you're having a good day wherever it is you are and whatever it is you're doing. Hello, how are you? Been a while. I keep popping in and then popping off again. And I'm hoping I'm here to stay. Hello, if you're new to my channel, I am Louise. I'm the Big Head Bookworm, and I occasionally post videos where I talk about books. I'm hoping that the occasionally will be more regular, but let's not promise anything because, I might disappoint. But hey, let's just embrace the fact I'm here. I'm here on my first episode. Oh, I've got an itchy leg. Oh, excuse me. That does happen. I do wander off. The first episode of Weekend Reads. I haven't got a song. I haven't got a song for Weekend Reads. I used to have a song for Friday Reads, and I don't want to sing it because then it will make me have that tune in my head for Weekend Reads, and I don't want the same tune for Weekend Reads. You can see I did Friday Reads, but I'm never going to get to do Friday Reads. I'm never going to be able to record a video regularly on a Friday. Let's just acknowledge that now. However, I am hoping that I can more regularly record a video at the weekend and post it. So Weekend Reads could be a thing. And I do I aim to do reading at the weekend. Don't always do it, but normally do. So yes, Weekend Reads. I need a song for Weekend Reads. No, let's not start high. That way lies madness. No, I'm going to have to come back with you for a song. I'm going to practice a song over the next week, and then I can come back to you, and next week I'll have a song with Weekend Reads. So do you like, I'm rocking my curly hair. This is natural. I have naturally curly hair, as you can tell by my fringe, and I have kind of not very natural colour hair. I mean, some of it's very natural, and some of it's not very natural, and I'm not going to tell you what's natural and what's not. But let's just say, any blonde over 30, it's not natural. You see a blonde over 30, I bet you it's not natural. So yes, a lot of this is natural, but some of this is not natural. And I'm gonna leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. But I've got lots of it because I'm the Big Head Bookworm. So yes, how are you? How have you been? So I can't remember the last time I spoke to you. I really can't remember the last time I spoke to you, and I've deliberately not looked it up so that I didn't shock myself that it's, oh my god, it's been this long, and then that would put me off. I just thought, just do it. Just get on there and say hello to these lovely people. On Friday Reads, I used to say what I read during the week, what I'm currently reading, or any plans for reading. And Weekend Reads is going to be similar, but it will be a little bit more ad hoc as to what I've got to talk about, because I might not have read that much in the week, but I might have things that I can talk about. If you were a regular viewer of Friday Reads, you know that that's what I would do, and I would also talk about other things as well, just kind of gently to begin with. And one of them was my unhealthy obsession with my neighbours' washing, which I can see because we're in my bedroom, and so looking out of my bedroom window, bedroom that I share with the husband, and we also live in the east of England. Oh, I always forget to do this. Live in the east of England with the husband of many years, who is a magnificent man and who I love very, very much, and our most fabulous boy, Benedict, who is 12. He's growing up. He's 12. He's lovely. He is still scrumptious. I realise this might change because we are getting to teenage times, and he does occasionally have the whiff of a teenage about him. Literally. Gosh, nobody warned me about that. Nobody warned me I'd have to hold my breath going into his room. But yes, we have gone into those times, but he is still a magnificent lad. So yes, unhealthy obsession about my neighbour's washing. So we've just had a big rainstorm. Well, not big rainstorm. We've just had some good rain, which was muchly needed because it was really muggy here. Didn't sleep very well last night because it was too hot. That's a very loud car. So yes, so I did all my washing yesterday because I knew that we were going to have a rainstorm. Well, it's going to rain today, so I thought I'll get it all done and dusted yesterday, which I did. And very pleased with myself. Thank you very much. All dried, mainly put away, but the cat was lying on some of it. What's that? Oh, that's the husband just coming home. Where were we? I've altered it, haven't I? Have I done it? Oh, it'll do. I have no idea where I was up to. Was I telling you about the neighbours? Yes, I was telling you about the neighbours washing. So I washed yesterday. You're probably thinking, don't bother, Louise, but yes, I shall do. I shall do. I'll tell you about the neighbours. So there was, so I thought there's going to be no washing out because we've just had a big rainstorm. None there. Oh, but there are some over there. Sheets, bedding. So they've obviously, when I first came up here, it was still really raining outside, and I thought, oh no, none. Oh, they are refreshing their wash with the sheets. They've obviously decided, just leave them out. They'll dry eventually. It is actually really warm. It's really warm. It's a bit close, as one might say. I said to Ben, it's a bit close, isn't it? And he'd obviously not heard me use that expression before. And I was like, it's a bit close. Don't you find it a bit close? And he's like, what's close? I'm like, the weather. The weather's very near and dear at the moment. Yeah, so it's very muggy. So yes, it's a good job I'm going for the curly hair, because if I wasn't going for the curly hair and straightened it, I'd be going back to the curly hair, because just in this weather, my hair just goes curlier and curlier. Anyway, so I've got you some books here, 3 that I have read and 1 that I'm reading at the moment. I actually am reading more than 1 at the moment. I'm fairly monogamous in my reading, but I can have 1 non-fiction and 1 fiction going at the same time, and then I kind of read them concurrently, and then at some point I get heavily invested in 1 of them and I focus until I've finished, and then I start again. I find I can do 1 non-fiction, 1 fiction nicely. 2 fiction I find harder to do, or 2 non-fiction I just feel as though I'm diluting myself. That's how I feel. Anyway, so let me show you a book that I read a while ago. But it is rather gorgeous, is it not? It's A Honeybee Heart Has 5 Openings by Helen Jukes. And it is a glorious, it's this beautiful kind of green with gold foiling on. And let's have a little look underneath. Oh yes, look at that. Oh, no, you can't see that. What does it say? It just says A Honeybee, but it's kind of beautifully done. It's a lovely, lovely book. It is actually signed by Helen. I don't have strong feelings about signed books. Some people really love them. Don't really bother me. Where I was buying it from, the copies they had were signed, so it was a signed copy whether I wanted it or not. But it's very nice that she felt the need to put her name in there. I think it's got more kind of feeling if you ask them to put something in, or you're talking to them, or I've had one where the person actually knows me and has written a dedication, and the author writing a dedication in is a completely different kettle of fish. It's a completely different hive of bees. But yes, anyway, let's not go down that road. So let me tell you about this. This is a non-fiction memoir set over a year about this lady, Helen Jukes, who was in her beginning of her 30s, doing in a career where in a job, well, career, where she was working all these hours and feeling very stressed, and she'd always had a passion for bees and had helped somebody who kept bees in London, and then she moved to Oxford, and it's about keeping bees. First time she ever had a hive. It was one of those things where she said to somebody, would talk about it, and then before she knew it, she seemed to be under the obligation to keep bees, whether she wanted to or not. And I've had that happen to me, where I've vaguely, in passing, suggested something that I might like to do something. Before I know it, I've been signed up for a year, and I'm like, how did that happen? So that does sometimes. I completely understood her bafflement as to how she suddenly, bafflement and concern as to how she suddenly was going to be keeping bees. But it is all about the bees, and it kind of is the history of beekeeping wrapped up within this year. I believe this is the only book that she's written. I could be wrong, but it wouldn't be the first time, and I'll get over it if I am. But I do believe that she has written in kind of wildlife magazines now. I think she's kind of seen as somebody that will talk about bees because she's passionate about them. I don't know whether she still keeps them. This came out in 2018. I think I read it either late last year or beginning of this year. But isn't it beautiful? It is such a beautiful book. I do really like books about bees. I like non-fiction and I like fiction about bees. I have quite a little collection of bee books that I have read and would recommend, and just generally bee books. I love them. I do love them. How did I feel about this book? It's quite big text, even though it's a hardback. It's, let me tell you how many pages. About 300, 292. Yeah, I loved all the stuff about the bees, and she's a very engaging person, and it's a lovely, a lovely. It's lovely to spend a year with her. It didn't set me afloat going with the bee stuff. It didn't. I don't know. It didn't make me want to keep bees, which I didn't have any urge to keep bees beforehand. And actually, a friend of mine's just got a hive and got her first swarm in there. And so she's keeping bees. And so I kind of understand the dedication. And so I have to say, though, that it must have been really informative, because when my friend was posting on Instagram that she was getting these hive and everything, the part of me was just like, that's a lot. It's kind of, you don't just keep them and then wander off. There's a lot to do with keeping bees, and she's the kind of gal that's going to do it brilliantly, though. So I know that the bees are in safe hands with her, because she's passionate about that kind of stuff, and way more than I am. I don't know what it was about it. I guess some of these books you just get caught into it, don't you? And other of them, it doesn't completely set you aflame, and it didn't. This one didn't. I enjoyed it. It was an easy read. I was stuck into it. I liked the bee stuff. She's a perfectly charming lady, very nicely written. Not much more than that. However, if you're into bees and you're into bee books, then you could do far worse than reading this. And it is a glorious book. I should imagine it's in paperback now. I don't, and she does quite a lot, and she's very engaging. Actually, I've seen kind of her on YouTube and what have you, and she's very engaging. Excuse me, just getting a bit more comfortable. A very engaging talker and passionate about these things, and so recommend it for that. Anyway, this is another book that I have finished, and it's kind of my two hardbacks that I've got for you. City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert, which I think might be coming out in paperback right now. In fact, let me have a look. Where's the best place to look? You see, the thing is now, I have so many apps on my phone that I can look up things. I get a bit kind of, where do I choose? City of Girls, here we are. City of Girls, paperback. When did it come out in a paperback? It's not going to tell me. It's just going to just say, yeah, it's fine. Oh, it's heavily reduced. Ooh, where did my... Come on then, tell me when it came out. Da 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 da. It's not going to say, it's just saying. It's just giving me all the stuff. Oh no, it came out in April. Which, let's be honest, feels like 7 long years ago. I was having this whole thing about my contact lenses, because I went to put some contact lenses in. I have a monthly subscription thing. I also have some dailies for when I do open water swimming, because you shouldn't, because you don't want to be putting stuff that you regularly put. You want to put stuff back into your eyes. So I have dailies for open water swimming when I do river swimming, and then I have monthlies. And I haven't been wearing masses of it, but because we're now having to wear masks all the time and wear masks at work, it's actually, I like wearing my contact lenses sometimes because then I don't worry about my glasses steaming up. Although you can wear the mask and wear the glasses and it doesn't steam up. That's another whole nother thing, isn't it? Oh, how are you all about it? Anyway, we now have to wear masks in shops and everything like that. So I was going somewhere. No, I wasn't. I was going out with a day with Benedict, and we were going to go to the seaside, which we did, and it was brilliant. Thank you very much. Went on Thursday, and I was going to go swimming in the sea, so I wanted to put my contact lenses in because I do. Couldn't find contact lenses. God, this is a long story. Sorry about this. Couldn't find any contact lenses. Ended up talking to my opticians, who said, "No, we didn't send you any. We haven't sent you any since August. We've taken the money off you. Thanks." Well done, that lass. But no, we haven't sent you any because you haven't had a contact lens check since last July. And I was like, so why didn't you send me any in August? Because I had it in July. And they were like, oh yes, soz. That's a huge bee. It knows I've been talking about bee books. Squirrel. That was a huge bee. As it went past. Be drunk. That's really distracted me. So, why was I telling you about my contact lenses? Oh yeah, I know. So we were talking about when I got my glasses, my new glasses. You've seen my glasses? Yeah, you've seen my glasses, my new glasses. And I was like, yeah, I got them in February. And she went, no, you got them in November. And I was like, did I? I was like, I'm sure I got them in February. And she's like, no, you got them in November. Actually, the end of October. And I was like, really? Seriously? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, gosh, I thought it was just before lockdown. She's like, no. No, it wasn't. And I was like, blimey. Because it feels like, you say it's April and you go, wow, that was a long time ago. Don't you think that? Anyway, that's what I think. That was another thing. So yes, this came out in paperback in April, but it's heavily discounted at the moment. But I bought it when it was in hardback, as you can tell. So I bought it when it first came out, and then I didn't. So did it come out in must have been April 2019. I got it reduced. I know it is. Yeah. So it must have been April 2019. I got it when it came out, and it was heavily discounted at the time. Kind of half price, I think I got it as. I didn't read it straight away. I don't know why I didn't read it straight away. I put it to one side. Oh, that's all twisted. And then I picked it up when I wanted something a bit more kind of. It's supposed to be a really good story and kind of raunchy. So it's Elizabeth Gilbert. Oh yes, her who wrote Big Magic and Eat, Pray, Love, and what was the other one? The Signature of Things, which Signature of All Things, which I didn't like. So I was taking a bit of a risk. However, I do find her very engaging, and her social media and what have you, I find quite. I kind of really am interested, and at the same time find her quite irritating. It's that kind of like, I really want to, but I really, and I don't know what it is about her, but I kind of love her for her being her, and she's quite unapologetic, but at the same time, and kind of gives you permission to kind of be you, except I don't need permission to be me. That's the other thing. She's kind of like, I give you permission. You're like, well, don't, love. Big enough and ugly enough, got enough hair to say, don't give me permission. Stop pointing your finger, Louise. I hear my mum go, please stop pointing your finger. I used to do that a lot when I was a little girl. And then mum and dad were like, stop pointing your finger. It's rude, which it is because you shoot energy at somebody. Do it at somebody else. That was a thing. Anyway, let's talk about this quickly before this becomes an hour long. The City of Girls. So it is her latest novel, and it is a kind of, it's heavily marketed as a kind of raunchy summer read. I'm not serious. set the showgirls in the 1940s. Ooh, and it's all kind of like all shushy and sexy and girls being unapologetically girls and all things like that, and based on true stuff and but it's not true. It's fiction. So, and I did really like it. It is quite large. I do think it could have been trimmed, and I quite often say that about her books, that they could do with being a tad edited more than they are. And I think it's very much a book of two halves, I would say. Raunchy, I guess I read a lot more raunch than this. I read quite, like explicit's not the word. I read saucy books. I do really quite, I like a little bit of sauce. With the best of time, I like my romance. And this kind of had romance in it. Of course, it does have, sex in it. It is adult, but it's not as, as everybody kind of suggested it. Or I didn't think it. It could just be the place that I was at the time. I was very much like, oh, very nice. Well done. Well done, you. But I did enjoy it. I must admit, I did enjoy it. So I do think it's a good book to pick up, and I can see it as a good kind of good summer read in the weekends read kind of thing. And if you saw somebody reading it on if I saw somebody reading it on holiday and they were by the pool, or I saw somebody reading it, I'd be thinking, oh yeah, no, good, well done you, well done you. Some people have found it outrageous. I didn't, but it was a good book. It's not without its faults, as I would say about all of her books, but I did enjoy it. So, City of Girls. So both of them, I did enjoy. Didn't love, but they were good reading experiences. And sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes that's what you need in life, is a good reading experience. Now, this is a book that I had high hopes for, and I loved. I loved. It's a bit of an odd one, and you might think, but it is spectacularly well written. It is called The Emperor of All Maladies by Siddhartha Mukherjee. So Siddhartha Mukherjee is how I would pronounce that. I'm open to people pronouncing it differently, but that's where I'm going to go with it. And it's The Emperor of All Maladies, a biography of cancer. Yes, it is a biography of the collection of malignancies that is cancer. So I have been heavily affected by cancer in my life. I have lost both my parents to cancer, and there are a lot of members of my family who have lost a lot of people to cancer, actually. And I've got close friends who have done spectacularly well and are cancer free, once they were. A lot of people in my life have been affected by cancer. So why you want to read about it? It's actually because of my work. So I have started working in the section in part of pharmacy that actually deals with chemotherapy drugs, deals with anti-cancer treatments, and I find it phenomenally interesting and fascinating, and I am very passionate about service, and part of the reason that I work, money, that's great too, but part of it is about service and being of service to the wider community, and working in the anti-cancer department, working with the anti-cancer therapies, just so interesting, so fascinating, and I just want to know more and more and more about it. And so my section lead said, oh, I tell you what, you're kind of a curious lady in many ways. She said, you're a curious sort, like my good self. You will really like this. And then her colleague said to me, oh, I know what you should try reading. You should read The Emperor of All Maladies. And I was like, oh yeah, it's already been done. I've already got it. It's on my bookshelf, and so I've read it. It's quite a chunky book. It is a medical biography, and so there's an awful lot of medical details in there. Having studied it as well, I found it just fascinating. I absolutely loved it. Really, really did. Not without flaws, I'll be honest. I don't know what I would say. Everybody that I know that's read it have got... Oh, can you hear the thunder? the light has really changed, hasn't it? Oh, it looks like it's going to thunder. That's quite exciting. I'm doing a lot of that this time because I haven't done one of these for ages. I will get better at it again. I know. I'm sorry. Chat. It will get tighter and I will get better at it, honestly. How long has this been going along? Oh, I might have to do a bit of trimming. Yes, what was I saying about this? Yes, so everybody that I know has either works in the area or has studied the subject. And so there is a level of understanding before you go in there. And I wonder how, if you have no medical interest or background or not prepared to read I don't know how open it is for non-practitioners to read it, but you don't need to be a doctor or anything like that. I think a good healthy interest in the subject would be enough to make it fascinating. But I found it easier to read because a lot of the terminology I knew anyway, and a lot of it I was familiar with anyway, and a lot of it was like meeting old friends. So of course all the therapies that they're talking about, we use them now. There's a lot of that we actually still use now, and that was really shocking because I think some of the stuff that we use is, brand new and fancy, and it is, and some of it was discovered in the 1940s, and we still struggle with it. So that was phenomenally fascinating about what needs to happen for cancer treatment and what we need to do for cancer treatment and the problems of it, how we just deal with kind of once it's there, treating it rather than preventing it and looking for kind of how we can prevent cancer even taking hold and what the nature of cancer itself and how long it took them to understand what cancer is. You can tell, I found it fascinating. You can tell I've just gone off on a subject because it's that good. I did really enjoy it. I really enjoyed it. There is this kind of terminology used for when it comes to cancer about kind of war against cancer, about fighting cancer, and it has that kind of slight air to it because he's a doctor and he's a, we're gonna beat it, and that's not how I feel about it. Even though I've lost people to it, and I would for another moment with those people, I can't even express what that would be like. And I'm so glad that other people that are actually living with cancer and that are in my life are doing what they're doing. So, but I don't have that kind of way of we're going to beat it, we're going to war against it, we're going to fight it. I don't feel like that because it's like fighting people's bodies, and I don't want to do that. But and there were other things that I wanted more of, or I wanted something different. However, that being said, it's a great book. So if you're interested in medical non-fiction, then I say you could do far worse than reading The Emperor of All Maladies, because I thought, my two colleagues that said, you should read, they were right. One of them's got a book on microbes, gut microbes, and she can't remember the name of it. And I said, is it I Contain Multitudes? Because that's out everywhere. And she says it's not that one, it's another one. But she's going to get me the name, and then I'm going to read that book too. Because I'm quite fascinated in gut microbes. Who isn't? My son. There we are, that's who isn't. So this is what I'm reading at the moment. So this is again non-fiction. 2 non-fiction, 1 fiction. And then I'm reading this. So Dare to Try by Louise. This is a bit of a swerve, isn't it? This is something completely different. So if you've been with me for a long time, you know that I used to run half marathons. Way back when. I absolutely loved running. I managed to hurt my hip. Not hurt as in I fell over. Oh, can you hear the thunder? I don't know whether you'll be able to pick it up, but it is actually going to thunder. It's really thundering. I don't know when we're going to get a rainstorm though, because it looks like it's over there. But anyway, that will be exciting. That's going to get another wash, isn't it? Those sheets. I might take them in, actually. I'd be tempted to go around and go, do you want me to shall I pick them up for you? And so I do like these kind of books. I like these kind of... I did a lot of running. I hurt my hip and I ended up having an operation, and it's never been right since. And I really would like to get back to running, but I need to lose weight. But then because I'm a menopausal woman, Menopausal woman. Yes, I am that perimenopausal woman, which means I'm putting weight on like in weird places and my body's changing, and not in a good way. Well, in a good way because I'm here, but in a way that just makes me go, what? What's happening here? Anyway, so I do really need to get back to exercise, but it is hard. So I do like reading these kind of books because they're quite inspirational. And Louise Minchin is my journey from the BBC Breakfast Sofa to GB Team Triathlete. I love swimming, I like cycling, and I love running. However, I would never do a triathlon because the idea of it seems to me crazy making. And she kind of loves all the individual things, but she also, through trying something, she remembers how much she loves competing because she used to compete when she was younger. So she has that kind of slightly athletic background, and she obviously isn't a fit person. But in her mid-40s, she decides to get into triathlons, and she's a very engaging person. Look, there she is, smiling away. She's a lovely Louise. Says nothing. There she is. And if you know Louise Minchin from in the UK, and you know Louise Minchin from BBC TV, BBC Breakfast, she was on 5 Live. I used to listen to her on 5 Live. It is literally like she sat next to me reading it. It is utterly her voice. So she has sat and written it herself, because it is literally like she sat next to me telling me her story. She is very engaging. She's a pleasure to be with. I haven't galloped through it yet. I'm only kind of 50 pages in, but I know at some point I'm going to really get into it, and I am really enjoying it. So if you like these kind of sporty books, then you do worse with picking up Louise Minchin's Dare to Try. And it's quite nice hearing, reading a book about a lady in her finer years, as I might say, doing rather well. Boy, it really is gonna thunder raining. No, it's just thundering at the moment. Hopefully we might get a bit of lightning. Oh, wouldn't that be dramatic if it did it when I was filming? I'd be like, like that, but it didn't. So anyway, so those are the books that I talked about. I talked about Elizabeth Gilbert's City of Girls, A Honeybee Heart Has 5 Openings, The Emperor of All Melodies, and Dare to Try. And I shall come back again and tell you about other books that I am reading. Hopefully next weekend. And I shall try and think of a song. A tune for weekend reads. There we go. Yeah. This has been lovely, BookTube. It's been lovely to spend time with you again. And I look forward to doing it soon.